What is up, Eastern Oregon? This is Dodsey, and this is Keeping It Clear with Cody Bowen. It's been a while, man. It's been a while. This is all brought to you by Oregon Trail Trader, east end of Adams in LeGrand. Go see Bummy. He's got a huge selection of guns. He's got outdoor products. He's got fishing supplies, reloading supplies, and it's an integral part of this community. One of the things I want to talk about before I bring Cody on is like some ground rules. Basically, we're gonna not talk about COVID. I mean, I hope. Now, this is an interactive program, so feel free to post your questions in a respectful manner. And the other thing I want to tell you guys is this is not paid for by the county, by Cody, by the sheriff's office, by nobody. It's sponsored by Oregon Trail Trader, and that's it. There's no implications, no ties there, so don't assume anything. And let's just have a good show, and let's see where we're at county-wise, like outside of COVID. One of the cool things about today is we're going to have Deputy Dane Jensen and K9 Molly. I'm going to talk with Cody for a few minutes, and then we're going to take a short break, and we're going to bring Dane and Molly in, and we're going to talk about the K9 side of law enforcement at Union County Sheriff's Office. So let's just go straight to Cody. Let's do it. Let's rock and roll. Cody, what's up?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, man.
Good,
How are you?
Good. It's been a while.
I know it's been kind of on hiatus because of COVID and everything. Let me start you off with my favorite part of the show. I heard Union County Sheriff's Office was trying to rescue a cow out of a weed field. You hear about that?
Cow out of a wheat field.
Out of a weed field,
Oh,
like
weed,
a pot field.
Weed. Got you.
Yeah, I heard the stakes had never been higher. My favorite part of the show, just for anybody that doesn't know, we start off every show with a cop joke.
Absolutely.
So what's new? Where are you at? Where's Union County Sheriff's at? What's going on?
We're still rocking and rolling. We've got, it seems like our job never stops for sure. Things in the office are going really, really well. We've got high morale with the deputies. I was just speaking to another gentleman earlier, and all the guys, they love where they work. They love the camaraderie. We are one big family. I was talking to Chief of Police today in a meeting this morning, and him and I, really want to set the tone from the top, from him and I of communication, transparency, and doing what we can, starting at the top with us to best serve the citizens of Union County. And it starts with, I made a lot of promises as far as being in the office and being available. And I'm trying really hard to follow through on that and be available every day, be available to the deputies, be available to the citizens. Just being around and being involved keeps me in touch with what's going on in our communities, and attending our city council meetings and meeting with folks out in the different businesses, and staying in tune with what's going on, listening to everybody's good stories, bad stories, problems, successes, being involved, being a part, and being a regular person on the scene. So things are going really, really well. Equipment-wise, deputy-wise, we've got a full crew on patrol. We still have one position that we're looking to hire on the correction side in the jail. So if anybody's interested in that, we've got a reserve program going, a cadet program going. We have classes that are going one night a week. We have 4 or 5 reserve deputies that are going through our in-house academy right now. That's exciting to me. That's where I started, was as a reserve. And it's a viable part of our office to help our office function as a whole and to give back to the community. These guys they have full-time jobs in the community. They come, after work on the weeknights, and they study and they learn, and they're learning the ins and outs of the job, going through use of force and weapons and EVOC and criminal justice into things, and learning the laws and how to be a police officer. And I'm excited for that. These are people that are in our community that have volunteered their time, their efforts, time away from their family to give back to their community in a positive light, and be a person of structure, a role model, and definitely help our full-time patrol guys out, cover units, whatever that may be. But I'm excited about the reserve program. It's a great program. It's up and running, and I'm excited about that.
That's awesome. When you talk about officer morale, so I don't have a lot of interactions with Union County Sheriff's Office. I do see Justin Hernandez quite often. I had him on halftime at the last football broadcast, and from my interactions with him, I can totally tell that morale is good. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Deputy Hernandez, as you know, took my place in the schools as the SRO, and nothing but positive feedback. Our other deputy, Deputy Tony Humphreys, is our other SRO that comes into LeGrand and then focuses out in Union Cove, North Powder, and a lot of good feedback for that. I will advocate for the school resource officer program until the day I die. Having the deputies in the schools is such a strong connection builder with our youth, a person of structure, consequences at times, but just that, man. Having those guys in the school is a huge benefit to our community and to our youth. Yeah, morale's through the roof, and that starts with the top. I've said multiple times, my job as a leader is to lead by example, and I wake up every day and I still have a smile on my face. I love my job. It's those guys are my family, and the guys and gals in the office and throughout the county. It starts with me, and I try to be positive. I don't try. I have a lot of things to be positive for, and it trickles down. It really does. So
absolutely. All right. Well, let's take a break and go visit Oregon Trail Trader. I mean, that's why we can have this show one time a month, is because Oregon Trail Trader puts some money towards supporting this and being able to bring this transparency to Union County. And that's what this is about. This isn't about putting anybody on a chopping block. This is about making transparent decisions and just stuff transparent for everybody to see that's happening with Union County Sheriff's Office. So when we come back, we're going to be joined by Deputy Dane Jensen and K9 Molly. And I hope you guys have some questions about it, because I think it's a super huge part of this community, and they're doing some really cool things with this K9 unit. So we'll take a quick break and we'll be back with Dane and Molly. We're back. We are back, and we have deputy. It's not you're not called an officer, are you? Or you? No. Or are you?
Deputy
Dane Jensen and K9 Molly. Here we go. So, Dane, let's start with you. How'd you end up here? Like, where are you from? Give me a short, answer. Like, how you ended up as a Union County Sheriff.
Well, I grew up in the North Bend, Coos Bay area on the Oregon coast, and my wife's family's from the LeGrand area, and just fate happened where I was able to get a job, and I started with the Oregon Department of Corrections in Pendleton, and eventually transferred over to the sheriff's office.
Okay, so what piqued your interest in the whole K9 program? Like, what sparked that in your career?
So we had a few bad guys that are committing crimes, and they're running and getting away. and I knew some of the skills that canines can provide, as in tracking and apprehending criminals. And after so many of them happened and kept on creating victims, I started researching it, and I ended up going down to Clackamas County and hanging out with their canine teams and learning, everything that I could learn, and ended up writing a proposal and giving it to the sheriff, and he signed off on it, and here we are.
Well, so this all started with like your idea.
Yeah, I think there's other deputies in the past that tried and were unsuccessful, and it was just one of those things that fate had it, and we were able to get Molly.
So is this the first dog you've ever handled?
Yes.
Were you a dog owner previously?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a couple of dogs, family dogs that we've had. We've had, when me and my wife first got together, we had a mixed bred dog named Scrappy. And then when our girls were young, we had a yellow lab. His name is Bass. And now we got a golden retriever named Otis.
Oh, so you have another dog at home?
Yes.
What's that relationship like between Molly and Otis?
I think Molly kind of pushes him around. He doesn't like to play with her. He'll just lay down when he sees her coming. And if he gets the zoomies and he's running around and he sees Molly hot on his tail, he'll just lay down and she'll run right over the top of him and keep going.
Is she quite a bit younger, or are they close in age?
They're close in age. He's, I think, 5 and she's 4.
Oh wow. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Molly real fast. Like what's her primary function?
Primary function is a patrol canine. So we do tracking, we do article searches for evidence, we do building searches, open area searches. We also do obedience and agility.
Obedience and agility. So is that where like the agility part is where it ties into like running down criminals? I mean, we didn't have Jay Hearn or Kyle Whitty at the time when we got this dog, right? So Molly serves a bunch of different functions.
Yes.
I mean, she can either look for drugs or evidence, or does she like actually, like if there was like a missing person, would she be able to help with that?
Yes. The biggest thing is she's trained for apprehension. So, I'd have to be really careful so she didn't think that they're a bad person or something and try to put her mouth on them. So.
Is that the PC way of saying
Say bite.
I mean, you can say bite on here.
Yeah.
Good. Like everybody knows, like if you run from the cops and they got a dog, you're getting bit. So Molly, her temperament outside of work. So obviously when she's on the clock, she's working.
Yeah. Yep.
Outside of work, her temperament. Tell me a little bit about that.
She's just like a normal dog when we get home. She lays around just like any other dog. She greets everybody at the door. She hangs out with my wife and my daughter. But when I start getting ready for work, she comes into our bedroom, lays down right at the doorway, and watches, and her tail is just slowly wagging. So she knows, hey, we're it's go time. We're going to work. And then she'll follow me all around the house, and then I just hold her vest out, and she puts her head through it and lifts her leg up. So she's hey, we're going to work. I can't wait to get there and have fun. So
wow. So how many hours? Like, give me a rounded number of how many hours like a week do you train with Molly?
We train anywhere from 4 to 8 hours a week. Usually on the days that we work. Every once in a while, once a month or so, I'll drive down to Clackamas County and train with their canine teams. And that's a 4-hour training with them, and that's always good to have. So, and we're supposed to have 16 hours a month. So
16 hours a month of ongoing training.
Yes.
So you guys, as viewers, understand that this isn't like the only training that they've ever had. Talk about that a little bit, Dane. Like the very beginning, like what you had to go through to become a dog handler, and what what Molly's gone through to get into this position.
So Molly was from northern Germany, and she was trained over there in the Schützen dog sport, And so we take that and we put them into police scenarios. And so when she was brought to the U.S., she was only here in the U.S. for maybe a week. And then I met her, and that was on a Friday. And then we spent the weekend together. I was scared. I was like, I don't even know what to do with this dog. Is she going to bite me? I don't know. And so then Monday we started our training. And we were in California for 6 weeks, going through training Molly on how to do the building searches and stuff like that, how to use her nose, open area searches. She had the basics from the dog sport. We just had to put her in the police scenarios. And then during all that time, they're training me to train her. So it was a good experience. So
I'm sure. So one question that I wanted to ask you, I've seen like a lot of, like police dog videos, military dog videos, and the dog becomes like a part of the brotherhood, like the family.
Yeah.
Is it really similar for you with her?
Yeah, absolutely. I try to encourage other officers and our deputies to train with us. And some of the trainings we've done is formations, where if we're chasing somebody and she's behind, for her to recognize the police officers and go past them to apprehend the decoy or the suspect, whoever it may be.
Who gets to be the decoy?
So I have Nick Vora. He's our emergency person for the county. He's always been there for us whenever I need him. I call him up. I was like, hey, can you train tonight? And he's like, yeah. And it's either going to be building searches, tracking, and I got a big old bite suit that he puts on. And so if anybody at night sees somebody wearing the big puffy black suit walking down the road, it's probably Nick, and he's setting a track for me and Molly to go find or follow him.
So he'll just put this big suit on and run however far in front of you, and then she finds him and bites the suit?
Yeah, like last night we did a track, and so he takes him maybe about 20 minutes to set the track, and then I sit there and wait maybe 5 or 10 minutes before we go, and then we go after him, and when she finds him, she gets rewarded and bites him.
It's very similar to like hunting dogs, tick hounds.
Yes, absolutely.
So they'll find the bear, they'll tree the bear will get shot, they'll wait for the bear to die, and then they'll let the dogs back off and let it bite the bear a few times to give them their reward.
Yeah. Very
similar. So with Molly, when you talk about the training, that whole process, is there anything that like worries you? Like is there like in the back of your head, is there ever any time where you're worried about anything when it comes to her training?
Yeah, I think my biggest worry is like her biting a little kid, or I've seen her go into dispatch and the dispatchers put their face right up next to her, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, don't she can bite your nose off, So because she does bite, and so I really watch her body language, just to make sure, trying to keep everybody safe.
Which I mean, that's like part of your job, right? As the handler, is to make sure that dog's body language and what kind of mental state the dog's in. Let me remind the viewers, this is interactive. So if you guys want to ask questions, blast them off right here on Facebook or send me an email, Kyle@EOAliveTV. And we're here for the next little bit of time with Dane and Molly, and we appreciate the fact that they were able to come down and join us tonight. This is all about transparency with Union County, and we're presenting, a integral part of this office. You know what I mean? And so Dane, with Molly, like, what's the scariest situation you've ever been in with her? Like, what's the one time when you were just like, oh man?
So we had an incident last year, and when we were approaching a house, the vehicle took off, and me and Molly were able to jump out of the way. The other deputy got his foot ran over by the vehicle. The vehicle crashed, and so we didn't know if they had any weapons or what. We just know that they just tried to run us over. So when we're tracking, that was kind of running in the back of my mind, is like, what's these people's mental state? It's just me and another deputy and Molly. Molly was able to apprehend one of the suspects, and once our job's done, we usually walk away. And I was later told that the individual was laying on, I think he had 2 knives that he was laying on.
Wow.
And so after that, it's like, what if we didn't have Molly what would he have done? Would he fought us? Would he be pulled out the knives? Could this have been a deadly situation? You know, so I think having Molly definitely diffused that and was able to apprehend him, and it was a good thing. So
Cool.
but yeah, that was kind of scary because you just didn't know what we were going up against. So.
Nice. We got a question. What's the breed? What is Molly?
So Molly is a Dutch Shepherd. They are originated from the Netherlands. She is a close cousin with the Belgian Malinois and the German Shepherd. The biggest feature about the Dutch Shepherds is their brindle. It's pretty rare to see one that's a solid black, but they're there. They come in a light colored brindle or a black brindle like Molly is. So.
Yeah, and Cammie says you can follow Molly on Instagram. It's K9 Molly, and some of the training videos are posted there. Somebody wants to know if Molly can do a trick. I don't think she's a trick dog. I mean, is there anything that she can do in here where you could show her off?
I don't know if she would do any. I mean, I could try. I mean,
put you on the spot, bro.
I know.
That's
So
all about.
I've actually been working with her to just stand up on her hind legs using her jute toy, and sometimes I can get her to stand there for like 4 or 5 seconds, standing up.
Hey, I'm not opposed to you trying. I mean,
All right,
let's
we
do
try it.
Let's,
Molly,
let's give
here.
it a try.
So this is her jute toy. This is her reward. She loves this thing. She loves to play with it. Yes. House. Almost. Yes. House. Yeah, there we go. We got a little bit.
Yeah, hey, we got a little bit on the spot too.
Yeah.
Somebody just asked if we can tell them what merch Molly has, like merchandise, I think is what they're talking about. Like you got some stuff for sale?
Yeah, so I got the Molly dogs. They're little plush puppies. We sell them for $20. All the money that we generate from that goes to Molly. So if I need a new leash, that money comes out. That's how we got our vest. We sold a bunch of the Molly plush puppies, and then somebody opened up a GoFundMe, and so it's all been by donations. Everything that she has pretty much has been by donations. If I needed something really bad, I'm pretty sure that the sheriff's office would go ahead and get it for me, but it's just a lot easier that we have it all donated. It keeps the community involved. It makes it more personable with the community. So
yeah, and like Cammie said, there's an Instagram page for the dog.
yeah,
I've looked at it. I've tagged the dog before numerous times. So go check that out on Instagram. Let's switch to let's talk to Cody for a second. Cody, like what does this dog mean to the department to you?
You know, this Molly is the essence of our department. She's part of the community. She's a great public relations, if you will. The kids, it's an avenue to get in touch with the kids, to have the kids, get excited about it. Everybody loves the dog. The biggest thing that I think is, she's a lifesaver. She's a lifesaver for the community. She's a lifesaver for our officers, our deputies. Just like Deputy Jensen said, when, Molly's the first one through the door at times. She's one of us. She's a sister. She's a family member, just like anybody's dog is. She is a viable part of our office and a sister to all of us. And we worry about her. We're scared of her times. He talked about going in formation and stuff, and I've been on trainings where you see Molly come running up behind you, and you're hoping that she's focused on the bad guy. And you're trying not to behave like the bad guy or look like the bad guy because she's intimidating. She is an absolute tool for our office to keep people safe, build relationships, and serve a purpose, a very viable purpose that I don't know how we did it without her to begin with. So yeah.
What does a career what's the career span for a dog like this? How long?
They usually work till about 9 to 10 years old, depending on health. There's some dogs that have been on duty for, I've heard, up to 14. It's all depends on what their health is. I mean, if they get bad joints, arthritis and stuff, at 10 years old, they're probably it's a good time to retire. if they get injured on the job at 8 or 9, then it's probably a good time to retire. But I'm hoping that she can make it to 10 years old, and then we'll retire her and hopefully raise enough money to get another dog.
And she's 4 now.
She's 4 now.
So
yeah.
we're looking at 6 more years, and then after retirement, you keep her.
Yes.
Yeah, like you ain't letting her go.
No, man. I love this dog. I mean, it's just you spend 6 weeks in a hotel together in training, and you definitely get to know each other, and you create that bond. And they talk about the bond that you get with the dogs, and then you spend every single day with them. It's awesome. It's the best job in the world, and like I said, I love this dog. And we won the lottery with her too, because her temperament, she has the switch. She knows when we're at home. She knows when we're at work. She knows when, when it's when it's go time. And I know she feeds off of me and my energy. And I get that. I do the same thing with her. So it's been a good experience.
So you've been canine handler for 4 years.
2.
2 years.
Yeah, we got her in September of 2019.
So is this a career move for you? Like, will it continue? Like, even after Molly's retired, is it your passion now?
It is definitely my passion. I hope to continue it. I hope to, even after I retire, if I get lucky enough to have a second dog, when I retire, I want to keep the dog program going for Union County, because it's just such an asset. So
I don't think criminals think that, but the good guys do for sure, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine being chased by Molly. Like, there's no way I could. Yeah, no, not happening.
You might be able to come out and put that bite suit on, and
It wouldn't fit me, man. No, let's not.
It's
even
an extra
go there.
large.
we can try.
I'm bigger than extra
You
large.
keep going
I'm
in the
not-
direction you're going. You keep losing that weight, brother.
No.
We will get you in it.
No.
I would love to see this little thing take you down.
It definitely would too. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. Bud, come on, Bud. He's saying we need to try it one time. Bud, we're not trying it. We're not trying it. There's 2 things I'm not doing. I'm not going up in the sky, and I'm not getting bit by a dog. Period. So let's. I guess. I mean, if there's no more questions, let's get. I keep wanting to say officer. Let's get Deputy Jensen and Molly out of here. And I mean, if anybody has a quick question for him, go ahead and blast it off now. Otherwise, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back to me and Cody, and we're going to finish the show off. They have a sleeve. No, can't. Well, stop trying to. People are trying to encourage me to let a dog bite me.
Oh yeah,
I'm not gonna do it.
I got a bite sleeve too, and
Knowing my
That'll
luck,
fit
she'd
you.
miss and bite my arm. Or, no, but what a beautiful dog. I mean, look at that dog. It's just absolutely beautiful, and the temperament, the manners in here has been absolutely phenomenal. And we had a comment. Thanks for supporting your local health workers. I don't know if the dog does that but just what an integral part of Union County Sheriff's Office and a great asset to our community.
Absolutely.
So we'll take a break, and I guess me and Cody will be back, and we'll finish off Keeping It Clear with Cody Bowen with some questions, hopefully from you guys. It's all brought to you by Oregon Trail Trader. Go down and see Bomb, east end of Adams. It's right there past Rock & Sons Tire and Auto. You can't miss it.
EO Live is your connection to Eastern Oregon. Get the latest and most relevant news in 2 minutes or less with Megan Demersion on our evening news broadcast. We cover Eastern Oregon's weather daily with Gabe, the EO Live weather kid, with an extended forecast every Friday. Watch Dodsey on EO Live Sports to get the latest sports information and interviews with local coaches, athletes, and more. See Brent and Dodsey goof and gaff with local guests on EO Live's morning talk show, AM on EO Live. We're available across the board, including Facebook, YouTube, Amazon Fire, and of course, our very own website, eolive.tv. We even have our own Roku channel and 24/7 live streaming via Strim. You can also listen to our shows on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and many other popular podcast apps. You can get everything all in one place with the EO Live app, available on Android, iOS, and the Amazon App Store. EO Live, your connection to Eastern Oregon.
All right, we're back. Welcome back, Eastern Oregon, and we're going to kind of wrap this up, but I want to give you guys some time to ask some questions. This is all about transparency. That's why this was my brainchild. Like, I took it to Cody before he was even voted in as sheriff, and I said, look, if this happens, would you be willing to do a show where we just be completely transparent and let the public ask questions? And he was absolutely in from the very beginning. And we've never not answered a question. That doesn't mean that we won't. I mean, if there's a really off the wall question, I'll ship it out. But if you have a question, blast it off right now. And in the meantime, I'll ask him some questions. So with the jails right now, okay, up there at the jail, which you're over, Cody oversees all the deputies. So the deputies are part of the jail. What's the biggest problem that you're facing in the jails right now?
The biggest problem is lack of space. Our jail was built in our office that we and the city and the dispatch and the jail inhabit. It was built in 1979, and it was designed as a ground floor to build up. And we have a jail capacity of 37, 38 inmates, and we are constantly full. And that's frustrating. The jail itself is a necessity. It's something that, we are, by Oregon state law, that's the one of two things that the sheriff is required to facilitate. I'm required to have a functioning jail or the ability to transport inmates at any time to a jail facility. And then our other requirement is to provide civil service for the courts. So if a judge issues a civil garnishment, restraining order, anything like that, we're required to serve those papers. As far as patrol is not something that's required of the sheriff. Patrol is something that is, I'm very passionate about, something that we need in our community. I'm a big advocate for presence. The more deputies that we can have out there driving the streets at night, doing proactive police work, community policing, the more the better. We have contracts that provide the majority of our deputies. The county itself provides 5 positions, pay the commissioner's office, if you will. The taxes they're paid that go to some of that during our budget, they provide 5 positions. The rest of those are provided by our outlying communities. Our contracts with Elgin, our contracts with Island City, Union. People don't understand a lot of times, that the requirements of the sheriff's office are solely the jail and civil. So the patrol is something that's needed, but sometimes taken for granted a little bit.
Is it hard to get people interested, like right now, in coming on as a reserve or coming on as a deputy?
Yeah, and I was just in a meeting. We had one of our first law enforcement admin meetings over in Umatilla County, and we had folks from sheriff from across the state. We had representatives from DPSST, chiefs of police from the Dalles, Umatilla, several other sheriffs, several lieutenants, and a captain from Oregon State Police. And one of the main things on the roundtable was the inability to find folks that are interested in law enforcement. And not just the law enforcement, but the administration side, the folks that keep things working behind the scenes. Finding people that want to be employed or can be employed is very difficult. And law enforcement, in years past and coming up to where we are now, law enforcement wasn't always a smiled upon profession. We've had some struggles. We've had, you've heard of the defund police. You've heard of certain situations in, Multnomah County, for that matter, that, they have very specialized units that have been dismantled. And, it's hard to find people to work in that. And it's frustrating because it's a great career. It's a great field. And it's a scary one at times. But it's a very rewarding, sometimes thankless. You're under a microscope, but at the same time, it's something that's in your heart. Character and integrity is majority of the time, that's not something you can teach people or train people how to do. And finding the right people to fill the shoes, especially in my office, I'm a big customer service advocate, and our customers are our voters, our customers are our citizens, whether they're, old enough to vote or not, that doesn't matter. the finding those folks that are interested in it, number one, and that can fulfill the position, it's difficult. It really is.
Yeah, and that question stems from I noticed, like, I think last week on Facebook, LeGrand Police Department's hiring, and they're offering like a $6,000 bonus to sign, and it's like, we got to give a $6,000 bonus to get somebody to come here and be a cop.
Yeah, and that it's still, we offered a very high pay rate for any laterals that wanted to come in that were already certified, that we could just hit the ground running. And the city's the same way. You can't find folks that, number one, want to in law enforcement that want to stay in Oregon. We have a lot of people leaving our state simply for the way that the profession's been handled, the upper management in certain areas, the way they've been treated, the boots on the ground. It's a very thankless job, and you have to offer some of those stuff, and we have to offer incentives to keep the people that we have. I'm a big advocate to pay your people what they're worth, or somebody else will, and it's frustrating. It really is.
So let's kind of transition into this. We still have a drug problem in Union County.
Absolutely.
You know that. I mean, a major drug problem. What I want to know, like, since we're talking about transparency, I want to know, like, your take on, first off, Suboxone. You know about Suboxone. You're the sheriff. I mean, what do you think about that? Like, as the sheriff of our county, we have a lot of people in this county that are using Suboxone and me personally, I feel like it's like they took a drug that was supposed to, like, help people get off of heroin, opiates, and turned it more into a maintenance drug. What do you what's your take on that?
First off, I don't have first-hand experience of being an opioid addict, and I have never taken Suboxone. I know that there are people that cannot function and cannot live without it, and they're trying to get help. They're trying to get off of the illicit drugs. They're trying to better their life, and Suboxone is a tool that is helping them achieve that goal and attain sobriety to a certain extent. I know that addiction is a mental situation. I know that heroin has its physical effects when you're trying to get off. I know that some people just flat cannot, literally physically sick, and can't function. So is it a tool? Absolutely. I wish there was something better, a different option that we could lean on, a more successful one that doesn't continue the addiction. Like I said, I've never had that experience in my life, but I know that there are folks that have been in that world and they think Suboxone is just as bad as the heroin.
Right.
Yeah.
It's tough either way. Let's answer this question real quick, and then we'll come back to my next question about that. She would like to know, what would you tell a kid that's wanting to get into law enforcement after high school?
Oh, man. I would say stay out of trouble, for one. I don't want to say nothing is insurvivable. When I was a kid, when I was in high school, I still have teachers to this day that, God bless you, Cody. I don't know how you made it.
When I moved back and I found out you were a sheriff, I was like,
yeah.
All right, let's go. Let's roll with it.
I be very frank. I had 3 MIPs when I was under 21. I didn't make the best choices, but what I did know is I knew the difference between right and wrong, and I knew when you were caught, and to always tell the truth. And that's something that stuck with me. I would tell the young kids the only thing that a man or a woman has in their life is their word. Stick to that. Honesty will prevail through anything. Tell the truth, do the best you can in school, and gain some communication skills. Work in a concession stand. Work in a place that makes you feel uncomfortable, and do your best to find something in common with every single person that comes across your way. Whether that's the shoes they have on, the car they're driving, the color of their hair, the earring in their ear. Find some common ground and develop that ability to speak to people. Law enforcement is 90% talking to people and de-escalation and finding something in common with someone in the worst time of their life, in the most scariest moments, being able to navigate through that, having a good ability to communicate with folks. Anybody that's interested in law enforcement, I encourage you, especially if you're 16 or older, come ride with us. Come to the office, bring your parents down, fill out a ride-along form, say, I want to ride with a police officer. Man, the door is open. You can come sit shotgun with us. You can come through the office, go through the dispatch center. And that's not just the sheriff's office. That's the city police. That's the Oregon State Police, our parole and probation. I mean, any way that you can get experience in there to see if this is something that really, truly interests you other than, what we see on TV or on Cops or CSI. Come see the real end of it. And if you still love it, I encourage you to go after it with everything you have, because it's one of the being able to serve your community and be there when someone needs you. Man, there's no better feeling in the whole world.
Right. So let's just go right into this question. Tell us about the cadet program. There is a cadet program.
There is a cadet program, yes. So we established that. Deputy Patricia Kelly, she's one of our animal enforcement officers and civil deputies, and she was very passionate. She came from us from a different county, has some correctional history. She was a sergeant in another jail, and we hired her on here, and she was very adamant about helping with the cadet program, and she's been a lifeline to it. Anyone that is you have to be 21 to be a law enforcement officer or reserve in order to pack a gun. So I wanted something where those kids were just getting out of high school. A young man by the name of Caden Green, recent graduate of LeGrand High School, wildland firefighter. Cody, I want to be in law enforcement. I love it. How do I do this? And we didn't have anything to offer, and stuff just didn't line out for him. I tried to get him a tour in our jail. I tried to get him, on multiple ride-alongs, and it was just frustrating. I thought, my goodness, this is a great kid in our community that has ties across this county, and he would make an excellent law enforcement officer. From how he's grown up to his experiences in school to now his experience as a young man. I wanted to retain those individuals. I saw kids, in the hallway, at the school that's, man, I'm going to be a cop when I grow up. It's grade school. Kids are, I want to be a cop. So I don't want to lose those kids, our CTE program at the high school, as far as, hands-on skills, this is something that we can give to these kids. So 18 to 20, as soon as you're out of high school, even before coming into it, but once you turn 18, you can apply for the cadet program. You go through a background check. You're going to go through the exact same training that our reserves are going through right now, learn all the ropes. Basically, the biggest difference is that you just can't pack a gun. And figure out if you like it, give back to your community, be a part of the sheriff's office, go do some pretty cool things on some ride-alongs, some crime scenes, be involved, help out at the fair. We had a young man that helped out with the fair in the cadet program this year, that, he was there every single day of the fair, helping out, selling merchandise, running the dunk tank, in the parade with us. It's just a way to feel it out and see if you like it. So anybody that's interested in it, call the office, and we'll get you lined out.
So they can either call the office or they can go up there and fill out the application?
Yes.
And
absolutely.
is there a way to do it online, or do you have to actually?
You can go to our website. Absolutely.
Go to the website and fill it out right there.
Yeah, we have, it's the same application that we take for full-time. Just need to specify your cadet or reserve. And the guys that are, that are going to be 18 in a few months or something, come on up. 18 is not a fine, hard line. There's stuff that we can do to get you before you turn 18. There's stuff that we can get you doing before you turn 21. And, get you involved in the program, get your foot in the door. People start recognizing, people start knowing you, and it'll open the door.
All right, so let's transition back to the questions about drugs.
Okay.
We have a question, and they're curious. They want to know if the deputies carry Narcan.
Yes, we do. Yes.
Everybody.
Everybody. I carry it myself. We carry it in our vest. We carry it in our vehicles. We have deployed Narcan. Everybody, a few months ago, we had a very disturbing uprising in fentanyl overdoses. We have Narcan and saved, I don't know how many lives over the years, over the recent years now, at an alarming rate. And it is something that we carry. We started carrying it for officer safety. We had deputies and officers across the nation that were dying from contact with fentanyl, just, going a person search, checking them for weapons, or going through a car and, touching fentanyl and getting it on their system and overdosing and dying. It's a safety tool for us. It's a safety tool to, God forbid, when we do get those calls or we come across those citizens that are overdosing and dying right in front of us, this is a great tool that's been able to bring folks back around and save their lives.
So the next question, and I don't know how to present it other than the way it's written.
Sure.
This person said that they lost their son to addiction, which, sorry, that's I've my whole family has dealt with addiction my whole life, me included. I mean, I quit drinking, and addiction's terrible. But this person wants to know, why can't you arrest the people who are now the drug dealers?
Yeah. So I've referred to this multiple times, but Oregon recently passed Measure 110, and Measure 110 took the possession of an illegal drug from a crime and made it an E-violation. E-violation is less than someone running a stop sign. So if I come across a person as law enforcement with a user amount of methamphetamine in their pocket, and the state of Oregon has declared that a user amount is 2 grams or less, you figure half a roll of quarters in your pocket full of methamphetamine, and it's a $100 ticket with a referral to a treatment center. If you contact the treatment center and nobody has any beds open in the state of Oregon, there is no treatment facility right now that if I say I want to become clean and sober, please help, you will get the door shut in your face. There's no place for anyone to go right now. And that's in our surrounding states. So you call the treatment facility. I made my attempt. You take that ticket to the judge. I contacted the treatment facility. The judge, there's no consequences. So we've decriminalized drugs to the extent that when we come across someone like that, we used to be able to, the person that's in the middle of addiction, that's having the crisis in their life, that they're relying on this drug to get them through day to day, are not the folks that we really want to focus on in law enforcement. And those are the folks that truly need the help, and we need to be a stepping stone to get them in the right direction, to help them, to be that tool, whatever that is. We used to have a drug task force. We used to have a drug task force in Union County that consisted of Oregon State Police, consisted of LeGrand Police Department, and Union County Sheriff's Office. Over the years, that deteriorated to where it was just the Union County Sheriff's Office providing that service. When Measure 110 came out, it tied our hands in ability to write search warrants. I'm sharing this information, being transparent. I'm not trying to give bad guys tools or let folks know the ins and outs of it. I'm just, letting you know where we're at. I have people that come to us and say, why can't we get these drugs off the street? We can no longer have, say, an informant, if you will, go to a drug house or a trap house, or a person that we know is coming into town with drugs and buy drugs from that person. We can no longer write a search warrant off of that because their user amounts are no longer a crime. They're a violation. So in order for us to truly find the dealer, we have to find the dealer. We have to find that person driving in their car. We have to find probable cause enough to get into that car. They can have 2 grams of methamphetamine sitting in the center console. I can't get into that car anymore. I can't write a search warrant based off that because it's a violation. So it's really tied our hands. It's limited the ability of our drug force, not just ours, but across the state. They've disseminated, and there's very few of them left. I will tell you that we still work diligently on attempting to locate the dealers, finding the high traffic areas, finding the trap houses, the folks that are bringing it into our community. They're still on our radar. They're still on our focus because it is still a huge problem. That hasn't gone away. It's just the state has limited our ability on what we can do and how we can enforce those laws. So yeah. It's frustrating.
Absolutely. One of the things that I always see is like people, they see the person that's addicted, out in the community or wherever, and they're like, why aren't we getting this person off the streets? It's like, that's not the true problem, right? The true problem is, and I've spoke with a few officers about this as well. is discouragement as well. Just straight up discouragement. The drug task force. I talked to Jay Hearn about it, Justin Hernandez, and he was just so discouraged because of these laws.
Yeah, yeah. The idea behind it was I understand how it got sold to the voters. The idea was to provide more treatment and less people in prison for simple drug crimes. What it did is it failed to provide the solution to that. So we decriminalized it, but we took that problem away, but we didn't provide the solution to do that. You talked about the jail. We talked about the jail a little bit ago, and the amount of beds that we have and don't have. I'm in the middle of trying to work on a new facility, get proposals for a new facility, bring other partners in, and part of that is to go along with that jail and more beds and a facility that's functional for us is what we're looking at calling a stabilization unit. Stabilization unit would be, now we would call our emergency room. It's someplace where if we have somebody that's in the middle of crisis, somebody that is, highly addicted to drugs and no place to go and off the street, someplace that we can get them to, get them in that facility, a safe, secure facility, not a consequence, not a jail bed, not an emergency room, tying up our staff up there, tying up our hospital security, exhausting those resources, but a separate facility that we can take folks to and truly get them stable, get them the tools that they need to get to an actual treatment facility and start that process of recovery. And that, not just with our drug problem, but with our mental health, with our folks that are wandering the streets that have, they have no answers. They have no place to go. They can't get any help. There's no treatment facilities available. CHD does the absolute best that they can, but, they're strapped for finding good employee, or not good employees, but finding employees that they can hire and stick around. Staffing is huge across the state. So I'm really passionate about that, the whole idea behind the stabilization unit. I think it could be a benefit to our community. It can be a benefit to take some of the load off of our hospital, our local ER rooms. As a SRO, I sat up there in the emergency room with several kids that were going through a crisis in their life that needed to get to a treatment facility, and they'd sit there in the hospital in the emergency room for a week. They'd sit there for 4 to 7 days waiting for some place in Idaho, Washington, Oregon to open up, and it's so frustrating, exhausting, and just takes a toll on everyone. And if we could have some place that we could do that was more of a studio apartment room, if we could have 4 or 5 of these beds that were available, that we could make these kids not sit in an emergency room, a subject that's going through a mental crisis not sit in an emergency room and get frustrated. I think it would be a good tool for our community.
Yeah. And wintertime, for those of you viewers that don't understand or that haven't heard this before, wintertime is even harder to get into rehab. Yeah. Wintertime is a time when unfortunately people take advantage of it because it gets cold. And a lot of the people that go to rehab don't have a place to live. And so there's a lot of people seeking rehab in the wintertime. Let's go to another question from the same lady that asked about the drug dealers. She said, there's several people who know the dealers. Why can't you stop them?
Yeah, and the problem that we have with that is hearsay. As law enforcement, we have to have solid proof that this is taking place. We just can't take the word from someone else or take the activity. A lot of folks call and say, hey, there's cars coming and going. There's people coming and going. Okay, I agree. We see it. We know those places. We park out in front. We see those places. We know where those houses are at. But if that person pulls up, we pull them over and they have a product that they just bought from that place in their possession. It's a user amount. I can't go write a search warrant on a violation. I have to have an established crime to be able to get in that house for that judge to say, okay, I believe that you have enough probable cause that you can go violate that person's civil rights. You can go search and seize their home. And for a violation to establish that enough probable cause for a judge to say, I believe what you're saying, it doesn't work, guys. It's frustrating, and I hope I'm portraying our frustration in the law enforcement end of things, but we know where those drug houses are at. We know where the people are at. It's just a matter of us catching them. It's a matter of being in the right spot at the right time. It's a matter of folks that keep calling and letting us know. I know you're not getting the results that you want from the law enforcement services that are provided throughout our county, OSP, LeGrand, the sheriff's office, but we hear you, and we share in your frustration, and we are trying to do everything that the law will let us do.
Right. So let's ask this question real quick. She wants to know if kids 16 and over, so I would imagine that's 16 to 18, on probation can go on a ride-along.
That would, if they're on probation, that would be something that's up to their probation officer, and depending on the crime that they committed, a felony, a person crime, a property crime, a weapons crime, it all depends on that. But I'll tell you what, the kid that is on probation, that needs some experience with law enforcement or needs some, a positive role model in their life, please come see us. If your probation officer will allow it, you bet. We will take you, we'll show you the other side of it, if you will. If you haven't seen it, we will try and be that positive role model. We'll develop that relationship. Every one of my deputies lives to correct the behavior of our youth. I like to think I'm the most passionate about it, but just when I think I am, I talk to another deputy that did something, to help curb that behavior in one of our youth. And preventative maintenance is huge, and if we can build that relationship, especially with the kid that's made a bad choice or has some consequences hanging over their head, send them our way. Absolutely, we would be more than happy to do everything that we can to be a positive influence in that.
Awesome. So, before we get you out of here, I mean,
Okay.
This is an interactive show. If anybody has any more questions, we'll address them real quick. But before we get you out of here, talk about the like we talked about drugs. We talked about, we had Molly on, which was a positive moment. But let's talk about the most positive thing that's going on at Union County Sheriff's Office right now. What's the most positive thing going on in our community right now for you guys?
Man, it's hard to put a finger on one thing. I would say that we are blessed to work in the community that we do. We have a support system throughout our community members that really supports our law enforcement officers. We have folks that confide in us. We have a relationship with our citizens that I believe is second to none. All of our deputies are extremely approachable. They're the members of the community, and they play an important role. But at the same time, the relationships that they build in this community, the friendships that they build, the possible backup on a scary night when you're by yourself and that citizen wants to help. That's the positive things that we're focusing on. I think that the overall morale in the office and where we're going as an office and the plans for the future is very exciting to me. It's exciting to the rest of the deputies. It's exciting to our community partners. The future, I would say, where we're at right now and where we're going as an office is the most exciting thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
So let's answer this one last question and then we'll get out of here. She wants to know how can the public help? What can they do?
I tell you what, me as the sheriff, I would encourage that we need to know what's going on in the community. So if you have questions, if you have concerns, if you have stuff that's going on in your neighborhood, talk to us. Let us know. If you see something going on, you don't understand why it was happening. If I say something that you don't understand or you don't agree with, call me. I'm the most open book. You ask anybody that knows me, I will talk. Most of the time I talk too much. But please, and me personally, as your sheriff, if you don't agree with something that I'm doing or something that I've said, I'm not going to get mad at you for disagreeing with what I have. Let's have an honest, frank conversation. Come and talk to us. Come and talk to me, and let's work out the issue that may be at hand. Give me a different point of view. If I say something that upsets you, come and talk to me. So I have multiple people in the community that have talked to me in recent times because I've been vocal about standing up for our citizens' rights and their individual freedoms. And some people that don't agree with some of the things that I've said, come and talk to us. Come and tell me, Cody, I don't agree with that. I think what you're saying is wrong. Let's have some honest discussions, and let's try and see each other's point of view, and let's try and treat each other with a little bit more respect and be kind to one another. And it starts with communication. We need to hear from you. We need to know what's going on in our community. And the more that you talk to us, and the more that you keep us involved, the better we're going to be able to provide a service, the better service we'll be able to provide, and the better our relationships will be with one another.
Awesome. Awesome. So before we get out of here, I got a couple things to talk about real fast. None of this is possible without Oregon Trail Trader. East End of Adams, I mean, they're the ones that pay for this show to happen. We have a bunch of people in studio. We're back in studio now. We did it live in studio. Like we used to put Cody in the other room on StreamYard, and we actually did a full live production today. And without Oregon Trail Trader, that's not possible. So go see Bomb. And then Deputy Jensen just stopped back by and gave me this.
Nice.
That's pretty cool. That's awesome. And dude, Cody, thank you. I mean, this is something that I'm passionate about. You know that, and
I'm with you.
I support you. I mean, you were voted in as our sheriff, and regardless of anything that happened, you know, it's been a really crappy time to be sheriff. I ain't gonna lie. But at the same time, you've handled it with integrity, and I appreciate that 100%.
Yeah, and if I can just say one more thing before we go, Dodzy,
Absolutely.
I made a promise to a lot of folks in our community that I'm not a politician, and I will give you an answer. It might not be the answer that you agree with or whatnot, but you're going to know, and you're going to get the truth out of me. You're going to know where I stand. And, at the end of the day, I want to be able to know that I did my absolute best to do the right thing. And if you feel it's not the right thing, you're not going to offend me by coming and talking to me. Please, my door is always open, and I want to be your sheriff. That's everybody's sheriff. I want to be the person that you can confide in and have confidence in that we're going to be there to take care of you and protect you and keep our community safe.
Absolutely. Thanks again to Deputy Jensen and Molly. How awesome. And Cody, you got to have some broad shoulders to carry that kind of load, man. And thank God you got some broad shoulders.
You bet, man. I appreciate you.
Eastern Oregon, I appreciate you. That's all we got. Keeping it clear with Cody Bowen. We're out.